believe Ben would actually do this?
I believe it's more probable than not that he did do it.
Oh, I've heard that somewhere.
Skip Bayless, if you look at that fullback had no anticipation of getting that football.
He did not, I agree.
Absolutely none.
Yep.
And my thing is, if you want, normally, if
that
you're
was
going to.
the immortal Will Johnson, by the way.
Skip, normally, when you fake the fullback, you empty hand it, and then you hand the ball to the running back. The running and Harris says that's what he thought was going to happen. He was going to get the ball. Now, Ben was upset because they had just turned the ball, Cincinnati just turned the ball over. They're up 10 with 1:09 to go. Cincinnati only has one timeout.
And they're deep in Cincinnati's territory.
Cincinnati's territory. And so I'm sure Ben is thinking, why don't we just take a knee? Even if they take the timeout, they have no more, we can just run it. But that wasn't what Todd Haley called. And even normally, you don't have audibles in situations like this, Skip, for that very reason. Now, if it's a regular play, situation where you're trying to get back, yeah, you might audible it. But you don't have an audible in this situation. Even if this is not true, Skip, and I believe it's more probable that it is, the Steelers got a serious problem on their hands. They need to ask themselves, of all the retired players, why haven't one player come to Ben's defense with this leadership thing? That's the guy that moving forward that you chose to go with. But everybody that's come out has questioned Ben's leadership. The Rooneys, Kevin Colbert, who's the general manager, and Mike Tomlin. Mike Tomlin, you bear a lot of responsibility. You let this thing get out of hand. You let certain players have certain privileges, and they saw it. And so now this is the mess that you've created. I've never seen anything like this, Skip. I've never seen, I don't care how bad even the devil. People are going to say good thing about it. Man, when it's cold, the devil, he got a nice place you can go visit. Not one former player, Skip, has said anything positive about Ben Roethlisberger's leadership, be it offense or defense. That should be very, very concerning to the Steelers. And you want people to follow him? And people that was in the locker room that was supposedly following him had problem with his leadership.
Okay. So the conclusion is what on your part?
I believe what that gentleman said, that Ben handed that ball off because, Skip, you can't do it. And then watch how he falls. Nobody touched Ben. And Ben fell like he was in a bad Western.
So is your conclusion they should have traded Roethlisberger instead of Antonio?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm trying to say Ben is not without, Skip. Two things can be true here. Ben Roethlisberger can be an all-time worst leader, and Antonio Brown still handled this situation wrong and deserve to be traded. They don't mean they have to coincide. Well, Ben is a terrible leader, so and Antonio Brown is right. No.
So before I answer Jenny's question, I want to point out Josh Harris played all of 3 games that year for the Steelers, and that was it.
So we'll just miss it?
No, I'm just saying, let's keep it in perspective.
Okay.
He carried the ball late in the season 18 times for a grand total of 41 yards.
Okay.
So I don't know how much credibility we should underline his tweet with. Like, does he qualify? Was he there long enough to draw this conclusion? I don't know, because then he didn't even play in the league after that. He played in Canada for a while, and I think he's out of football, but I'm not sure. I think he's just out of football.
So are we going to dismiss Hines Ward, Emmanuel Sanders, James
Don't
Harrison?
dismiss them, for sure.
Because they said the very same thing about Ben.
Okay, so to your point, does Ben have a lot of diva in him? Does he have some bad guy in him? Yes, he does. Do we know for a fact that he nearly killed himself and hurt his football team by riding a motorcycle without a helmet on and went over somebody's hood?
Yes.
Right? We
Yes.
know that. Do we know that he was twice at least accused of sexual assault, right? He had 2 sexual assault allegations, and in 2010, he was suspended for 4 games.
Correct.
Okay? So we know that for a fact. We also know for a fact last year he was 3rd in the NFL in QBR, which is pretty great. He led the league in passing last year. He has obviously 3 Super Bowl appearances, 2 wins, 6 Pro Bowls, and in the playoffs, his 13 all-time wins make him 6th most among quarterbacks, 6th most wins in the playoffs. So that's pretty great. So it boils down to this. when you talk about problem players, is Ben a problem player? You could certainly put him in that category, but would you rather have Ben or AB? I'd take Ben. Ben or Le'Veon? I'd take Ben just because of the position he
Skip,
plays.
that's not the issue.
Okay.
See, because here's the thing, and we need to stop this. It's like the greater the player is, the less like we're willing to believe anything someone says about that player. Ben Roethlisberger said he and Antonio Brown had a great relationship. Is that the truth or was that a lie, Skip? That's a lie.
Well, I don't know enough to know, actually. I don't know. I wasn't there.
AB said he wanted out.
Okay.
Okay, he said he and Todd Haley had a great relationship. Was that the truth or is that a lie? That's a lie because we saw him consistently throw Todd Haley under the bus. You see, what happens is that the greater the player is, the less likely we are to believe anything that's said bad about him. It doesn't matter if it's Tom Brady. It doesn't believe if it's Michael Jordan, if it's Peyton Manning. If you're great, oh, he can't be that. Bull jive.
Okay. Do I think there's a chance that he just vetoed that play in the huddle and went so far as to risk losing the football game? Because I don't know if they score on the next play,
Right.
Cincinnati.
Or they scoop and score.
I don't know.
Back there.
I don't know.
Right.
Right? And the onside kick, I don't know, it's 27-17.
But why would Ben, this fullback, if you look at the fullback, Skip, the fullback, he doesn't even make a pocket to get the ball.
It doesn't look good unless, I'm just being objective here. Is it possible Ben forgot the play or mixed it up where thought he was just going to hand to the fullback? Was that the play that was called?
No.
Okay, well, I don't know.
So now we go as far as...
Is it possible the fullback didn't get the right call? I don't know.
All I know is that the running back was thinking he was going to get the ball because if he didn't, and then Ben stumbled out. I thought Ben was in a bad Western. Jitty, you saw how he stumbled. I like, come on, Ben.
Yeah, it wasn't great.
Okay.
But Skip, even if it's not true, it's still a bad look because you got another player. Although this gentleman's only there 3 days, how long do you have to be around? 3 games. So that means he was there at least 3 weeks.
Yep.
How long do you have to be around?
He was on the practice squad all year, so he would be around.
Right.
Okay.
So how long
Yep.
must I be around someone before I get the vibe? You don't have to be around a person very long before you realize. You see how they interact with other players. You see how they talk to other people. You get a real indication of who and what that person is about. I just want to know why hasn't anyone come to Skip? There have been players that will come, like you said, Tom Brady, off camera, on camera. No one says anything.
They don't.
Peyton Manning, nobody says anything. I just want to know.
Well, I don't know. Peyton Manning had a few things.
Well, he got into it with Jeff Saturday on the sideline.
Yeah.
And he told him to shut the bleep up.
Then Peyton went after his, what was the offensive line?
Well, he went out with an idiot kicker because.
Well, that was a whole nother thing.
But the kicker the kicker called him out. Yeah. And he said, I'm over here throwing a touchdown to Jerry Rice, and I got to respond to some idiot
Just
kicker.
for the record, but go ahead.
But let's just remove all that. I just want to know why. Not one player. I'm not talking because, see, Skip, the thing is a lot of times when you on a team, you have to say all the positive things, especially when you're dealing with that guy. So you got to say all the positive things. He's a great guy. He's a great guy. But these guys, Emmanuel Sanders said it when he first got there and got to Denver.
Yep.
He said Peyton Manning is a much better. Oh, that's just sour apples because they didn't re-sign him. So he's just saying things. But what we're starting to see, same thing they said about Greg Jennings, Skip. Remember when he started saying, well, Aaron is not the best leader? Oh, that's just sour grapes. And now the leadership has been called into question. Ain't nobody issued Greg no apology. Ain't nobody issued Donald Driver no apology when they said what they said. Just like ain't nobody, Ben, he's got 2 Super Bowls. I don't care if he got 10. He's still a terrible leader.
Well, he's done pretty well in Pittsburgh being a bad leader, right?
Yeah, Skip.
Yeah.
Some of the best leaders are terrible people. You know that, I know. Yes.
That's a tricky one. Give me one.
Yeah, let me think about it too.
Because greatness will allow you to get away and say things that you couldn't. So let me ask you a question. Had he not had those 2 Super Bowls, would Steelers be backing him up like they do? You see, Skip, we got to be very, very careful because a lot of times you get a prominent position or, well, he's a CEO or he's won titles. You overlook the little things. I'm not willing to overlook it because I believe, take all that away. You are who you are.
Okay,
so guess what? He's a jerk with 2 Super Bowls.
I got one, a guy you know very well, Dan Marino. Was he a great leader? I don't think so. Could he be a diva? Was it just his way or no way? Right?
Yes.
Did he want to run the football? He did not. He wanted to throw it every time. And they mostly let him throw it every time.
They did.
And they won what? They won nothing.
Right.
Okay. So
and
does he qualify? But he wasn't a great leader. I'm not saying Dan's a bad guy, but I think he's a hard guy to get along with.
He probably was.
Yeah.
I mean, I met Dan after, I knew that. I played with him, went to a couple of Pro Bowls with him. But, in the Pro Bowl, Skip is a different animal because everybody's going to be nice. Oh, yeah, man, good to see. Great season. Mm-hmm. And so I met him. I really got to know Dan after football. But if he was anything like in football, like he was after football, Skip, you hear this a lot. Oh, that guy give you the shirt off his back. Skip, Dan Marino would literally do that. Okay. Now, I don't know what he was like when he played because, like I said, I wasn't close enough. And I didn't I didn't know a whole lot of guys that really played with Dan, so to get that kind of feedback. But I know a lot of guys that played with him, and I know what they say. I know what they say about him. Some of them have said it publicly.
Well, it takes a lot to say that in public, knowing the reaction you're going to get. And we haven't heard a lot from some of those teammates defending him, and it is a good
You know what?
Shannon.
This is a hot seat year for Ben Roethlisberger.
It is.
This is a sink or swim. This is you're on. Show us.
And that's the thing, Skip. You know how this works.
Yep.
Fans look at it, okay, you win for me. I don't care. I don't really care what you do. You want to get DUI or you want to drive speed or whatever. As long as it's never anything crazy, Skip. Obviously, there are limitations. But fans will really overlook bad behavior or leadership or anything that pertains to that if you win for us. Yeah, he all that, but he our Super Bowl winning quarterback. It's going to be very interesting to see once Tom retires, see if anybody, because I know what they say publicly. You've been around a lot of them. I know what they say privately.
Still questioning Brady?
No, I'm not questioning him, Skip. I believe that the players that Brady is a great guy in the locker room. Now, I don't like some of the stuff that he does. I mean, the yelling and screaming, it gets labeled as passion. When T.O. or some of the other guys do it, there's being divisive or all that other stuff. I get all that. But I don't believe Brady's a bad guy.
And he would be liked by everyone. Like, not
everybody ain't like O'Shea.
But it's different respect.
Yeah.
Respect, not best friends always, but you respect those
like
guys.
Everybody ain't like O'Shea.
Everyone?
Everybody didn't like it. Everybody didn't like it.
I'm sure everyone respects.
But I tell you what, you could, like I said, Skip, come talk to me. If anybody like what you had to say, okay, so what? Maybe I slap the taste out your mouth, but we still gonna be teammates.
Yeah.